Now, Queensland I regard as kind of a microcosm of what were extensive issues with the Labor campaign, but many people are saying, well, Queenslanders were unable to differentiate between what were state and federal issues. And I would say that the two were inextricably interlinked on the basis that you have the Queensland Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, demonstrating her commitment to getting the Adani coal mine up and running. And then you also have her boss, essentially, Bill Shorten, whenever he comes to Queensland, saying, oh, yeah, look, we'll consider Adani. We're not a massive fan of it. But when Bill Shorten goes back to the inner city suburbs of Melbourne, where the Adani protest is most vehement, you have him saying, no, Adani's not going to go ahead. So Bill Shorten reminds me of the fable of Buridan's ass, whereby a donkey is stuck between two hay bales equal distances apart at opposite sides, and because the donkey cannot decide which one it's going to go to, it dies of starvation. And that's exactly what happened in Queensland, whereby Bill Shorten had this hyper progressive climate change policy, and he also has this commitment to the CFMEU as well as Queensland workers, saying we're going to look after you. Now, unfortunately, Bill Shorten and the Australian voters, I think, ultimately recognised that he was not going to be able to uphold both ends of the bargains. So you had Bill Shorten, who was kind of strapped to this medieval torture apparatus, whereby he was stretched out by two competing forces, like two horses on the end of each rope. And what he was hoping was, he knew it was going to tear him apart, but he was just hoping that the election would conclude before that happened. And so obviously his understanding and his perception was that he's going to be able to do a much better deal if he gets into power. As you saw, he said to Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm going to be the next Prime Minister. And the Terminator said, not today, Bill. Now, in terms of the broad spectrum, I understand that some people are particularly upset with Queensland over the fact that Queensland essentially kind of decided the election. But what I would say to that would be, well, if you take out Victoria, the coalition wins almost every time anyway. So the same argument could be made against Victoria as it could Queensland. Now, to all the experts out there who are relying on opinion polls, I think we've come to the end of, I hope so anyway, of a reliance on opinion polls. But to all these experts and to all these analysts who say, well, the opinion polls are wrong and that's what I was basing my opinion off, if your opinion is based entirely off what opinion polls are predicting, then you're not an analyst, you're simply a barometer, you're simply a puppet of news poll. You have nothing original to contribute, and I don't know why at the ABC we are paying all these people all this money just to kind of spout off exactly what the opinion polls are saying. If you want to revolt against the opinion polls, that's fine, and you can have your beef with News Poll, Galaxy Poll, whatever. But just be honest and say, I have nothing original to contribute. I can't see past a simple telephone metric, and my intelligence does not extend beyond that. Just be honest about it. Just say it. Now, of course, on Carnage House, you get a different take. You get a little bit of a sense of the underlying current permeating amongst ordinary Australians. And so I would say, if you want real news, if you don't want just some kind of megaphone effect whereby everyone just repeats what the opinion polls are saying as if somehow that constitutes an argument, come to Carnage House. You'll get a different take. You'll get some real news. Okay, conspiracy theories, alternative facts, myth busting. We've got it all here. So that's my wrap of the election. Bill Shorten didn't deserve to win. However, I would also say that Scott Morrison didn't deserve to win. And there are some serious issues which I'm concerned about, particularly Julian Assange, the inability of the Australian government to get him home. Number two, censorship, particularly online, that the government is going to be targeting bullying, which essentially means establishing some kind of online police to censor and invade the privacy of ordinary Australians. And also the actualisation of this budget. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about it because we cannot be paying interest on this debt for very much longer. As soon as interest rates go up, and they will have to, we're going to start paying a whole lot more interest. So we need to pay down this debt very, very quickly. That's my wrap. That's my take. The Australians get one back against the elites, against the media. So well done, Australia. I didn't think the Morrison government deserved to win, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And I would say tune into Carnage House for a more in-depth analysis, as well as to revisit our live election coverage.